So today, I'm going to step on dogs, apparently. No, we're not going to step on dogs. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. Okay, well, that's a difficult start. Today, I'm going to make ghee, I think. So today, we're going to make ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. We don't use a lot of lactose products, a lot of dairy products here, because we don't have cows, and yeah, we try and stay away from it, but we want to do all kinds of food experiments. This is nata. It's a boiled down milk, and that's what we're going to start with. We're going to apply heat to evaporate all of the water off of the nata and end up with a clarified butter. Why do we want clarified butter?
Because we do not use refrigeration here, so...
That's right.
Clarified butter can last up to a month without refrigeration, in theory. We'll
Right.
have to try it.
Right, and where do they use it?
Sorry?
Where do they use it?
In India.
India. So there's extra Indian coolness going on here. We're expanding our culinary horizons.
Now, I think I'm recording. Wait.
And then you can also use this red button right there to record if you wish, or you can use the touch screen. That's your choice.
And can I stop recording with this one too? Okay.
Yep.
Great, so whenever you like.
So we need to fire up the fire. This is a wood-fired stove. They're fairly efficient. I'm going to use these shavings from the trees we gather resin from to start the fire. It makes it much easier. And I can chop up some old scrap wood to have little pieces of wood to get it going with. The goal is always to start a fire just using one match. So I've got my nata. I'm going to be putting it in two different containers. One of them is a cast iron skillet. The brand on it is called Lodge. Very strong and wonderful. I'm a big fan of cast iron always. And I'm also going to be putting some in a Pyrex dish, a measuring cup. And that's because I really want to see when it clarifies. I'm not an expert on ghee, but I like to do things when I'm not an expert. It's more fun. So the idea is to heat it up, and not heat it up too hot either, not too quickly. We don't want to burn it. Well, our goal is to evaporate off the water that's in it so that we just end up with some solids, and there'll be some part that doesn't clarify. We'll get rid of that, and we'll end up with part that's just completely clear. The completely clear part is what we want. That will be the clarified butter. Well, we'll see if this works. So I'm worried about this burning if it's too hot. I have a couple ways to control that. I can reduce the amount of fire down in here, but I also put a comal up here upside down. And the reason is because I don't want it to burn. I want it to separate. I've got back here this glass one, and I put that on a little bit less hot spot. And I really like that it's made of glass, so I should be able to see the levels as they separate out. We'll find out if that's true.
Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes with heat. As you can see, its consistency has changed very much. It's liquid now. And we are starting to see little separation. Okay, so now we can see big color change, and on the border here we see some clarified. You can see the reflection as well. So it's working.
Yeah. Yep. We got dark parts and clear parts now. I think I'll move it all around. So this is boiling a little bit, and I'm not sure if that's even supposed to happen. I'm going to try an experiment. I'm going to pour a little bit of this into a glass. Well, questionable job there. But the idea then is to see if this then will separate in the glass. We'll find out what happens now. And I think maybe I should turn the heat down a little bit Because I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to boil. I'm not really sure about that. Well, I'm not really getting the result I'm looking for here. It is clear up here, but I thought I'd get a lot more clarified stuff. I get a lot of white stuff. So we did pour this off into here. So this has more of the, what looks to me like clarified butter. So we're getting, I think we are making clarified butter, but it's not as separated. So we need to learn how to separate it better. With the rest of this, I think I'm going to let it boil more and see what happens when it gets more dense. I don't know what we would call it, but sometimes it's easier to just try making stuff and then figure out what to name it later. It's going to taste good in any case. So we have a suggestion from Alicia. The one option is to take a spoon and kind of scoop out the clarified stuff. That takes a lot of time, so I'm not that interested, but it does seem like a smart idea. Well, now I'm just seeing if I can boil the heck out of this without burning it. So I'm going to get as hot as I can and boil it down and see what happens. Okay, this is getting exciting. I was kind of giving up, and so I decided to just let this stuff boil. But what we're seeing in here now is a whole bunch of separation, a whole bunch of clarified stuff. So now maybe if I poured this off, we'd have a bigger section of clarified butter, I guess. I think I'll pour some more off and find out. So essentially the problem we're having is we don't know how to separate different densities of fat or lipid stuff. That looks great. That looks really clear. So that's the best we've done so far. And this was lots more heat, going ahead and letting it boil, still hopefully not letting it burn. It's not quite burning in there. Ooh, it's getting close. But look at that, that's turning solid and brown. And actually one of the things that they did say is that there would be solids left over. So I think we're getting to that point. But the point is that we're getting more separated stuff. So that's good. We've got more clarified stuff. I'm sure there's a chemist watching this video saying, there's an obvious way to do that. You can let us know in the comments how to do this better. Or if you live in India and you do this all the time, you could also enlighten us. ¿Y qué va a pasar si voy a ponerlo un poco más inclinado? ¿Va a ser más fácil desde aquí? Ah, sí es.
Yep.
Este es muy claro, completamente. Creo que esta es la meta. Entonces estamos logrando. We're succeeding after failing.
Es casi aceite.
Yeah, es un aceite.
Aceite animal.
See, it's not vegan. And actually, in general, regarding that, we don't have a lot of like dairy things here. We don't have goats or cows, and we're probably not going to. Goats are an option, but in terms of like a vegan perspective or even just an oddness perspective, in order to have goats give you milk, you have to get them to have a baby, and then you maybe the baby gets some milk for a bit, but then you keep the animal lactating by squeezing the milk out. So it's a sort of an artificial thing. It's an artificial state for a mother to be in. So I'm not sure I'm that big a fan. I'm obviously a fan of cheese and pizza and all the wonderful products we get from milk, but I'm not very motivated to do it here, actually. As far as animal products go, we do have chickens, and I think that maybe that's a great way to get our animal protein. And chickens have been domesticated to produce a lot of animal protein. It's still a little weird. It's an external uterus you're eating after all. But I think it's simpler, and so we'll experiment with these things. We want to learn and play with everything we can, but I doubt we're really going to get in the habit of doing this a lot. Good job. That's beautiful. So this is really clear stuff here. Bruno took it out of there with a spoon. And so this makes us think that boiling it is an okay idea. Not what I thought before. We're going to take this other stuff we were working on and return it back into the main batch so we can continue the process. And next time we do this, we'll know that we'll feel comfortable just boiling it, and we know that the ghee will come out and it'll be much easier. But the experimental process is fun for learning how to think about things and play. And of course, sometimes you end up with a result you were not expecting at all, and you could invent something new. You know what I'm thinking for this ghee making? What would help is a tall, transparent, heat-proof glass thing, like a really tough one for the heat, and tall enough so that you could fill it with the nata or whatever type of milk thing, and all of that ghee would float to the top, and you could use a tiny little ladle or dipper just to dip it off of it. I think that'd be the easiest way to go. Also, I think it's okay to just go with boiling. Just go straight to the higher heat. I didn't know that before, of course. I do got to figure out where I can buy a heat-proof, transparent glass thing like that.
Okay, so we have as you can see, we have clarified butter here. And there's also this byproduct that's solid. If you taste it, it's rather good. Tastes like cheese. It's not cheese, but very similar.
Thank you so much for joining us on this food experimentation to make ghee. We also today are making mantequilla, butter, so you can see that in other videos. If you have suggestions for other food science activities, let us know. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.